I'm not sure as to, from the expression that I see, a lot of people here have not heard of this episode. This is in the Quran. And a lot of Christians probably have also not heard of this. You just hear about the kill and murder kind of verses with nasty and incompetent translations from Surah Al-Tawbah. When the Prophet Muhammad came to Medina, he came there, it was created on the basis of a social contract signed by Muslims and non-Muslims and including Jews. So the Constitution of Medina, if you look at the articles, it says that Jews and Muslims are one ummah. This is Article 24 or 25, depending on which translation you're looking. Just go up and read it. Today when we say ummah, we mean Muslims and exclude everybody else, but that was not the case. And according to that social contract, if Jews were attacked, Muslims were supposed to defend them, and if Muslims were attacked, Jews were supposed to defend them. So in the second major battle the Prophet ﷺ fought, in which the Meccans invaded Medina, Battle of Ahad, there were 72 casualties, 72 people died. And after the death, Prophet Muhammad ﷺ was walking around with some of his companions, and he saw a dead body and said, "Who is he?" Because there was a dead man he didn't recognize it. He was astonished that this man died fighting with me, and even the Prophet ﷺ was injured in that battle. He lost his tooth, and he nearly died. He was protected by a woman. He said, "Who is this man?" And then somebody said, "Oh, that is Mukhayriq. He is the rabbi of Medina who had died." I was so impressed when I read this. I actually wrote an article about Mukhayriq. Just Google Mukhayriq and my name, you will find. I call him the first Jewish Shaheed of Islam. Can you imagine, is there any believing Muslim today who would not give his life 1,000,000 times to die in the Battle of Ahad? And Mukhayriq died. I can see from a lot of cases not many people have heard of this. And the Prophet ﷺ responded by saying he was the best of them. It was very interesting. The next day, a man comes to Prophet Muhammad ﷺ and says, "Do you know who I am?" Prophet said, "No." He said, "I'm the son of Mukhayriq. My father was the rabbi of Medina." He said, "Yes, I know." And then the man said, "But do you also know that he was the richest man in Medina? He owned most of these gardens that you see." Prophet ﷺ said, "I don't know, but how does it matter?" He said, "Because he left everything to you." So this rabbi left everything to Prophet Muhammad ﷺ with a simple note saying, "Oh Muhammad, use this for khair, use this for doing good." And the Prophet for a second wondered, what does it mean? What is doing good? Can I keep it? There's a whole discussion whether it is personal property or is it public. So he invented the concept of an endowment. He said, "This is not given to me. This rabbi has left this so that I can do good." And so the first Islamic endowment was created with Jewish money. There's going to be a lot of Googling tonight. Good. Hope you've done something. And once you find these answers, you can go and read about it in Sirat al-Nabi, Ibn Hisham's story. I have all the citations on there. Then ask yourself, why don't you know this story? It doesn't matter whether you're Muslim or non-Muslim or Jewish or American. Why don't you hear these stories from the life of Prophet Muhammad? Everybody knows how many wives he had. But why don't you know this story is a question? Especially for Muslims, this is a serious question. Why don't your teachers, why don't your Sunday school teachers, why don't your ulama ever give a khutbah about Mukhayriq and this life? This is really very serious. So the Prophet ﷺ reached out to Muslims, reached out to Christians, reached out to Jews. That is the role model that we have to follow. Spirituality is through connecting to people. The Prophet ﷺ said, "You are not a true believer unless you love me more than anything else in the world." He said, "You are not a true believer unless if your neighbor is afraid of you." You are not a believer. He said it 3 times. You're not a believer, you're not a believer, you're not a believer if your neighbor is afraid of you. He said, "You're not a believer if you go to sleep and your neighbor is hungry. There are so many such traditions. The idea is not to defend the image of the Prophet ﷺ. The idea is not to defend and fight against people who malign him. The idea is to live life like he did. And the only way you can live life the way he did is by knowing how he lived his life. I'm amazed at this battle of whether we should celebrate Mawlid or not. Oh, it is a bid'ah. Everything is a bid'ah. Usul al-fiqh is a bid'ah. But to accumulate knowledge about the life of Prophet Muhammad, to understand the Quran, you cannot even understand the Quran without understanding the life of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, because many aspects of the Quran are addressing directly things that were happening in his lifetime with people that he was interacting.